Hey friends, welcome back. Another day working on the Shovelhead here. Now we're going to work on taking off the starter and the solenoid. I need to remove those next so I can pull off this inner primary and then work on the transmission and ultimately the engine. So let's get the can removed. We'll get you guys around and show you what's involved in taking off the starter and the solenoid. First, we'll start on the left-hand side of the bike. We're going to pull the solenoid first, and in order to do that, you'll have to remove this cap. Sometimes there'll be a chrome cover on here too that has a set screw holding it in place. These rubber caps kind of get petrified and they're a pain in the butt to pull. Thankfully, I've already got this one loose. You will have two 9/16 nuts and one 3/8 nut to pull the wiring out. So we're going to start with the 9/16 first. And sometimes, these things are fun, you'll see here the whole apparatus is turning. So you'll have to almost brace the wiring in order to turn the nut to loosen it. And being that that's moving so much, our issue with the starter on this bike was probably solenoid related because these are loose and it wasn't getting enough power to actually activate the throwout bearing here. I guess not, it's not the throwout bearing, it's the Bendix. I misspoke there, I apologize for that. Thinking of clutches, don't know why. Now with the wiring unhooked, you can go ahead and back the wires out of this cap. We'll leave them all dangling. And then next, there are two mount points here. They're both 7/16 and they mount into the inner primary itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to unthread these. That will pull our solenoid. Now with all of the hardware loose, we can go ahead and pull this out. There'll be a spring in here, and then the rest of the Bendix is inside there. There's a giant spacer. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the hardware back into the inner primary. That way that part is together still. Okay, in order to pull the jack shaft here, you'll need to undo this giant screw up top here. And these are kind of a bear to get undone. Sometimes in order to get these to move, you have to take a punch and you have to actually hammer it kind of in a circle, counterclockwise obviously, to get this thing to loosen. And thankfully I've been able to loosen it up quite a bit. Now I should be able to turn it out. These things, of course, they get heated up and then they get stuck, and when they're stuck, they're a pain to get out. Sometimes they break off. Thankfully, with a heavy hammer and a punch, I was able to unthread this giant screw. Now with the screw out of the way, the actuator for the jack shaft here is loose and free, so I can back this up quite a bit, and this is almost ready to be removed. A little pull here that gets your jack shaft out and then gets the rest of the actuator parts out, and you can see that what this does is it pivots on that post there and it pushes the jack shaft onto the primary drive, onto the ring gear, and that's what allows the bike to start. Your solenoid has this ram in here, and that's what's pushing this forward to be able to actuate that jack shaft. Now from the right hand side of the bike, removing the starter is fairly simple. We're going to start with removing the ground cable here from the starter itself. That's a 7/16 wrench. Now with the cable removed, we have to remove the front bracket, and those are going to be two 1/2-inch studs here. We'll loosen these up. This one's already loose. We'll pull those out. That way this bracket's off of there and out of the way. With the bracket removed on the back side here, now we just have the two studs on each one of the housing, the ears, right here and right here. Those are a 7/16. Obviously the one on the bottom side is going to be super grimy. Those are always kind of fun to get to. Now with all the hardware removed, all you have to do is pull the starter out itself. I guess this top stud is still a little bit hung up. There we are. And now the starter is free. One of the things I want to do is I want to put this bracket back onto the starter because it's going to go with it. And of course I want to put my two nuts back onto the outside of the transmission here. So that way those are together as well. As you can see, starter removal, not super hard, not really terrible. The big hang up is obviously this screw on the top. Sometimes those are a bear to get out. Sometimes they come out super easily. This one I believe to be stock. I don't think this thing's been apart since 1975, so I'm assuming that's probably why it was stuck. Another short video for the day, another one in the books. Of course, if you like the video, give it a like. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor. Help me grow this channel. Anyway, y'all have a great day. We'll catch you next time.